Hello and Dobryi. I'm Roxy, and today we're going to be doing some paper plate loom weaving. Let's go!
HCPTV!
Alright, so to get started, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need some scissors, some tape of any kind, plate. It can be either paper or styrofoam, it can be square or round, it doesn't really matter, and some yarn. I chose white because I know that later, if I want to dye it a different color even with some natural dye, I can do that. You can also choose to do it with a bunch of different colors and alternate if you want to do that instead. So first we're going to grab our plate, and what we want to do is kind of pick a number of strings that are going to go vertically. So today we'll pick 10. So you're going to do 10 slits on the top and 10 slits on the bottom, and I'll show you what that looks like.
So you're going to want to make them about the same length. Just like that.
Next, we're going to take our yarn, whichever we want to be the vertical strings, and we're just going to kind of tape it to the back here. So we're just going to tape it to the side. Nothing too special, just so it stays out of our way while we're doing our weaving. Just like that. From there, you're going to want to start to weave it on your loom. So we're going to take the first slit here, pull our string through just like that. We're going to pull it down to the bottom, and pull it through the same slit that's across from it. Then around the back, we're going to pull it to the top to the second slit, pull it through, down to the bottom again, and just keep repeating until you have all your vertical strings. Once you weave your yarn through the last slit, on the back we're going to do the same thing we did at the beginning. We can cut our yarn at this point and just tape the end to the plate to get it out of our way. Just like that. Next we're going to cut our string. So it gets a little bit too hard to weave this whole ball of yarn between every string, so we have to decide how long we want our weaving to be. If you want yours to be about this long, which I've done before, I recommend taking the end, putting it between your thumb and your forefinger, kind of wrapping it around your elbow like this. This is one loop, and doing about 5 of those loops. I think I'm only going to do about 2.5 today. So now that we have our length of yarn, we're going to take our first one, and on the very first string, we're going to tie a knot so that it's secure. Now that we've knotted it on the first string, we're going to start weaving. The pattern that I like to use best is under over, so I'll show you how that works. Because we've knotted on the first string here, we're going to take our second string, and we're going to take our long yarn and go under like this. You can pull it all the way through if you'd like. Just like that. I'm just going to pull the tail of the knot out here so we don't get confused. So it looks just like that right now. And then next we're going to take the end of our yarn again. It gets lost pretty easy, so I'd hold on to it. And we're just going to go over the third string.
So you can kind of just pull every second string and pull your string through. You don't have to pull it through all the way every single time because it can take a little bit longer. But I like to pull it through when I'm done the row, so I can see that I've made sure that I've alternated under, over every single time, because we don't want to mess this up.
Once we finished our first row, we're going to get started on the second one. Now we're not going to start left to right like we did on the last row. This row is going to go right to left, but we're still going to be alternating that under-over pattern. So on our last string here, our 10th string, we went over. So now this becomes our first string in the second row. We're going to go under, opposite of what our last one was. Over, under, over. You got it.
So in my finished product here, when I didn't push the strings together, it left these little holes here, so it's a little more gappy. But on the end, I smartened up and I started to push my strings closer together, so there's a nice tight weave there. There's not many holes. Once you've got that down, you can just keep on weaving until you're finished. I can help you at the end, don't worry. Once you got your weaving to the length you want it, I think I'm gonna end it about here. Just like the beginning, you're gonna tie a knot, except this time you're gonna tie it on the last string. Just like that. Then you're gonna wanna cut the strings off of your first knot and your last knot. And if you use more than one color and had to end somewhere else, those knots as well. So now we're going to flip it over to the back, and we're going to take the tape off of our ends here. And we're going to pull these to the front. Alright, so next, back to the back again. We're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut a line straight through all of the strings on the back here. Next, you're going to take your weaving out of the loom and you're going to start to knot the loose strings together. So you're just going to kind of pair them off one at a time. So I'm taking the first two strings here and I am just going to tie them into a knot, and I want mine to be secure, so I'm going to do 2. And then I'll take the next 2 strings here and do the same. Alright, once you've got all of those strings knotted, if you want to try and make them even, because even on mine these ones are quite a bit longer and these ones are quite a bit shorter, you can fold your weaving in half, kind of pick a length, and cut them so they're all the same. And now you're done. A couple things you can do with it. You could use it as a bookmark the way it is. If you want to put more strings in at the beginning, more vertical strings, say like 12 or 14 or 16, you could turn it into a blanket for your dolls or your stuffed animals, or you could try and make a square one and then use it as a coaster. Alright, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed today's craft. If you needed a little more help with those instructions, you can print them off. And don't forget to print off the badge you earned today as well. See you later and do побачення!